Hello there. Today I'm going to introduce you to a free clinic management software. This is based on Microsoft Access 13, which means you will need Microsoft Office 13 or above installed in your computer to use this. This is going to be a short demonstration video. What I'm going to do is that I'll use one example of a patient and how you're going to manage that patient's data as he walks into your clinic and until his last appointment. So let's fire it up. When you double click on the ACDDB file, you will be presented with a login screen like this one. Here you can see the logo, but in downloaded version this logo will not be there. The default username and password will be admin. Here I'm putting my username and password. What you have to input is username admin and the password is also admin. You can use the show and hide button to see the password and hide it again if you have trouble inputting the password. And as you can see, there is no other way in except putting in the password. If you click outside of that field, nothing really happens. If you close the database, it closes entirely. And the only way you can get in is by inputting the password. So it's a valid login screen. This is the home screen. You can see on the left side there are some menus, options through which you can operate the database, and on the right side there is a little clock with the list of today's patient. So let's start with this add option. We'll use an hypothetical patient, let's say John Doe. We'll use his example to see how the database really works. So if you click on add, the first menu, you will be presented with a form, patient details. In this, there will be a unique patient ID which will be auto-generated. You don't need to put in anything there. Let's input a little details about the patient: his name, first name and last name, age. You don't need to fill the whole form at a go. You can fill up as many as you want and left the others for later on. Let's give him an email address, john@gmail.com. That's fine. Now, walk-in date is an important feature. I strongly recommend you enter the walk-in date. That means the day patient entered your clinic, because this information is going to show up in many places. Let's save it up. The software will ask you if you want to save the new changes. Every time you make a change, you will be asked to confirm it. Now the patient is registered in the database. Now two things can happen from here on. Either the patient will get out of the clinic after the consultation, in which case you can close it up, or hopefully the patient will do some procedure, in which case you will use this schedule option. In this schedule option you can insert any procedure and the payment the patient is doing. If you click it, you'll be presented with a little form. Appointment date will be today's date. You can use the date picker on the right side. Click on the date picker and select today or any other day. In this case the patient walked in 13, so you put in 13. Let's say John did a filling on his tooth number 26 and he paid, let's say, 1000. save it again, confirm. Now if you want, you can provide the patient with a cash receipt for this single appointment. If you click on this print button, it will generate a clean and nice looking cash receipt. Two copies, one is for office use and another is for providing the patient. If the patient wants the receipt, you can provide it. You can pay through cash, check, or debit card, whatever. Let's close it. Now both the walk-in date and the patient is registered and there is details about the appointment. Now if we click this database option, we can see that John is appearing here, and you can also search him by name. If you type John and click search, you can see John is here. And if you go obviously after that, patient is going to want a next appointment, hopefully, and you can provide a next appointment from this patient's details form. Let's schedule him for 17th. Okay, now the patient is registered and has done a procedure and have an appointment. Now where do we look for this new appointment? As you can see, right beside this database option, there is another option called schedule. The schedule menu look exactly like database, only instead of text, here is a date picker. That means you can put inside only date format. So you put in any date and click search, and you can see which patients have been scheduled that day. You can find John or whatever patient you have scheduled on the 17th. Now when the date here turns 17, John is going to show up here. At the end of the video I'll show how that's done or how that happens. The next option is invoice. Oftentimes patient might want an invoice, a total grand total receipt of what the procedures and payments was. Now you can provide a patient with invoice from with two ways, either through this invoice menu or from the patient details form. I'll show you the both ways. So let's say John wants an invoice, but let's give him another appointment. Let's do a root canal on him on the 17th. Let's say he came back on the 17th and did a root canal on tooth number 46 and paid say 4,000 taka. And then he thought that let's say he doesn't need any more treatment, and again you can give him another receipt for that exact appointment, or you can give him an invoice for his entire treatment. You can use this bill option here. You'll see that two of his appointments are showing up here, and if you click print invoice, you can see that there is a nice clean looking invoice showing up. You can print this. This is formatted in standard A4. You can provide this invoice from this invoice menu too. Just double click on the name and print invoice. Either way works fine, whatever you are comfortable with. The next menu is analytics. Now here you cannot actually do anything. This is just a data visualization tool to see how your clinic is doing financially over the time. You can see last week, last month, there are 6 tiles and 4 graphs. The first 3 tiles will show you how you performed last 7 days, the number of appointments, number of new patients, and amount of cash inflow. and the second three tiles, they will show you how you did over last month. The other four graphs are also patient and appointment and cash inflow, but I'll explain those later. The next option here is prescription. Now, this is just in case you run out of prescription or you want to print custom advice of a patient. For example, if you click on John on the left side, you can search a patient and click on his name, and it will generate a A4 size prescription with the patient's name, age, etc. printed. This is also formatted in A4, standard A4 size. On the right side, you can find the few advices menu. If a patient has root canal, he only needs advice for root canal. If a patient is doing denture, he only needs advice for denture. You don't need to print them all. In John's case, he had a root canal last, so we can print advices for root canal on the back of his prescription if you want. Let's close it up. The next menu is expenses. It's to track how much you are spending on your clinic. You can see there's several options here. You can put in on which date you are spending the money, for which month, rent, assistant salary, cleaner salary, electric bill and utility bill, if you purchase anything, and if you purchased anything, what did you purchase. You can specify almost everything here, and this list actually coming from our inventory list, which is the next menu in your list. I'll show you that in a bit. And if you repair anything really, and that expense will also show up as a graph in this analytics page. For example, let's see the analysis page for the while. As you've seen earlier, here is a graph for your cash outflow. This graph is for your cash inflow. This one is appointment, and the top graph is patient inflow. These two graphs the next menu is inventory. If you click on it, you can see 6 options. You can add an item to your clinic. If you can add a vendor from which you bought the item. This is the master inventory. Let's see the master inventory at a glance. You can see the list of things I have in my clinic. You can add them via category. You can see the list of vendors here about all these instruments from these 6 shops. When you can add an item, you can specify the vendor, or you can add in your vendor while before adding that item. It will be wise to add the vendor first and then the item. In that case, the vendor will show up in this pull down menu. So if you have bought something, first add the vendor, then proceed to add the item. And you can use this increase and decrease button when you discard an item, and increase when you buy new. In that case, the database will automatically calculate how much you have left. So when you use this restock item, by default it will show the list of things that are running low. As you can see, these things are running low. I need to buy these items. as soon as I can, depending on the number of item I need. So in my case, I have specified to 3. So if any item is present below the number of 3, it will show up in the stock. Here is an menu backdoor. As you can see, this looks like doesn't look like a Microsoft program, because there is no toolbar or any other option present. This looks like just another software, because I have hidden those options with this backdoor menu. You can bring back those typical Microsoft menus. For example, if you click if you want to see the navigation bar or top ribbon, you can use this. If you click show top ribbon, you can see the top ribbon is appearing. If you click the navigation pane, these are things you need to edit when you want to change something on this database. If you're fine with it, leave this hidden, it will be easier to use. The change credentials, as you can see, this gives you a big red warning. If you must remember this username and password. If you forget this, you will be locked out of the system without any way to get in. And there you can recover the data, but it's very tricky. If you change it, it gives you another warning. You must save it, because if you forget this, you'll be locked out. Okay, so what about this today's patients list? Let's see. We gave John a lot of schedule. Let's say, what if John had a schedule today? What will happen then? Let's give John a schedule today. Save it. Yes. So when the schedule date appears, what will happen is that John will show up in our homepage. Let's see. We have to log in again. Let's put in the password and log in. You can see John. The time should appear here. Oops, we forgot to specify the time. We can fix it. Let's give John a time specific schedule. Let's go to database, find John. Yes. We need to give him a schedule on 4:30. Okay, 4:30 it is. Save it. Close. Close. Exit. Now when we log in, we will see John and when he's scheduled, when exactly. The list will be in a descending order of time, so you can see which patient comes after which. As you can see, 4:30 p.m. John. This way, when you fire up the database at the beginning of your clinic, you can see at a glance which patients are scheduled today. Hopefully that will make the job easier. And when you click exit, it will log you out, just like any other system. And the close button will close the database. I must mention something here. I am not a professional. I learned Access from scratch myself. Building this database was my first project. So there might be some bugs here and there. Please let me know if you find anything. I'll be very grateful. Thank you.